All right, we're going to wrap up today's media availabilities with our race winner, Austin Hill, driver of the number 21 for Richard Childress Racing. Congratulations, Austin. We'll go right ahead, open it up for questions. If you have one, we will get you a mic. We'll start right in the middle with Jacob.
Jacob Stillman, Race Face Digital. You've I feel like you've been a part of a few of these that you've sometimes had to wait it out. As you guys were sitting there in the tri-oval waiting for official word, did you think you had won it, or were there questions in your mind?
I knew that it was just between the 27 and I, because I saw when the yellow light flashed getting into turn 3. I saw that flash, and right when it flashed, I looked left, and me and the 27 were like side by side, and we were half a car length ahead of the 2. So I knew it was only between him and I. Had no clue if if I had won it or he had won it. And then I was actually, when I was sitting in the tri-oval, I could see the TV screen that's down in the infield, and it looked like, from my vantage point, from where I'm sitting, which obviously I'm going to be biased to myself, but it looked like I had won. And just sitting there waiting always feels like a lifetime. That same thing happened to me at Daytona a few years back, where I had to sit there and wait to find out if I had won the race or not. And, you're kind of like, your stomach's kind of cramping up, and you're like, I don't know, you feel like you're like, all right, let's just breathe here. Like, it's going to be okay. If you win or you run second, it's fine. We had a good day. We ended up with a car that's clean, no issues, didn't break anything. And, yeah, when my spotter Derek Nealon came over the radio and said that we had won, man, it was like, oh God, thank you. Finally was able to get Talladega checked off the list. I had won at Daytona, Atlanta multiple times, but I haven't won at Talladega. It's been eluded so many times here, so to be able to get that done is extremely special to me today.
How do you process everything that happened in that last two-thirds or so of a lap? Because you had a good car, but it seemed like your teammate had the dominant car that could just make a lot of moves that nobody else could, and yet when he moved down to try to take the run there with the and get around the 88, you found a hole, it looked like.
Yeah, I thought the 2 and the 21, I thought we both were fairly even. The 2 might have been a touch better than us, but overall, I thought that we had a really good car. We at least had a second-place car. And, there was a few moves that the 2 was making that was really aggressive, and I just didn't feel like there were certain times that I probably could have made a move, and I decided not to. I didn't think it was the right time to do it. So I felt like this race I might have not been as aggressive as what I normally am in the past, but we were still able to get up through there when we needed to get to the lead, all that stuff. And then I thought I had made a mistake going down into turn 1. I was behind the 48 pushing him, and I thought about ducking out of line of the 48. And right when I thought about it, the 2 actually did it. And when he got underneath me, I'm like, man, that really screwed me there. Like, I'm probably going to be done. And I fell back, to like 15th. I'm like top of 3, and I don't really have no help out back, not much. And then all of a sudden the 42 jumped up behind me, and then the 2 got shucked out, or something happened with the 2 where he got put to the top of 3. Okay, yeah, so they moved him up the racetrack, got him out of the way. And when I got to the 2, I'm like, I'm just committed, like full-blown pushing as hard as I possibly could in the corner, down the straightaway, obviously doing it where I'm kind of bumping him, because obviously that's our rule on the Xfinity side, but I'm pushing him with all I had, and somehow it built momentum for that top lane. And I know the bottom lane and middle lane, they started getting jumbled up, and you could hear cars having to lift and stuff to not wreck the guy in front of them. And then when we came to the white coming off of 2, I just like linked up to the 2 and just pushed him as hard as I possibly could. And when he turned left to go to the inside of the 88, I just was like, my only hope here to win the race is to stay top. And right when I decided to stay top, the 88 went across the 2's nose, wrecked. And then at that point, I knew I had some help out back. I was just wide open, and I'm like, well, if the caution comes out here, I got to be ahead of him. And somehow I got that surge right before the caution came out just to barely get ahead of him. And, I haven't seen a replay or a close-up of the picture of how close it was, but I know it was very close.
We'll go in the front to Bob.
Bob Parkhurst, Fox Sports. What did you have? It looked like you had a pretty good view of the 88 and the 2. Did you think either Is that just racing on the final lap at Talladega?
It is just racing on the final lap at any super speedway that you go to. Like, you're leading that line, you have to throw the block or you're probably going to end up losing the race. And if you're the two, you have to take the run that you had. So really you can't put anyone at fault. It's just racing at the end. And, I've been on the side of the same thing where I had a run and I went to shoot the middle. At Daytona, the one came down and turned across my nose, ended up wrecked, and we ended up somehow winning that race. But, when it comes down to white flag at these super speedways, nobody's lifting. Like, if that would have been stage 1 or stage 2, the wreck doesn't happen because the 2 would have lifted for the 88, and that wreck would have never happened. But with it being white flag, like, nobody in the field is going to lift for that. So it's, it's a tough deal just because I feel like the 88 had to make the block, but he probably could have made the block sooner. And the 2 had to take the run because he had a massive run because I was pushing him really hard. So, no one's at fault with all that went down.
We'll come right here to Dustin.
Dustin Albino, J-Ski. Austin, you now have the record for the most wins in the Xfinity Series at these types of tracks. Personally, what's that mean to you?
Well, going into this weekend, I didn't even really think about it. I knew after the last Super Speedway win that somebody had mentioned to me at RCR about that I was tied with, I think it's Senior and Stewart, right? Tony Stewart and Dale Senior. And I was like, oh, man, that's really cool. And, when we won the race and we're sitting in the travel and Derek, my spotter, comes over the radio and says, you just won, then he ends up following it up with, like, you just broke the record. Like, you're the guy now. Like, you have a new, you got 9 and the previous record was 8. I was like, man, that's awesome. But for me, like, I never really thought of it that way. I still have a lot to live up to when it comes to the 2 guys that I just named. So, it's awesome. But at the same time, I still got a lot to do before I can say that I'm in any type of level of Senior and Stewart.
Are there any other questions for Austin? Come right over here to Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy with Novel Photos. Obviously, super speedways are something you're good at, but is that your actual favorite type of course?
No, actually, for the longest time, it was my least favorite to go to. Every time we came to these places, I'm like, man, again, we got to come to these super speedways. And over the last several years, I guess back when I was running trucks in 2019, 2020 era, I just changed my mindset where it's like, just go out there, try to be aggressive, try to stay up front, try to lead laps, try to do all these things, try to make the right decisions at the right time. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, I'm not going to hold my head up, hold my head down for not giving effort. And if I end up on the hook, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, right? And that's kind of the motto or mindset that I have going into these races. I just kind of, when I strap in, I'm like, all right, we may finish first, we may finish 38th, and it is what it is. We're going to at least give it all the effort we can and see where we end up. And for whatever reason, it's been working out for me.
We'll go to Chris.
ChrisKnightCatchfence.com. Austin, today it looked like the moves, some of the blocks and the moves were more insanely bold than we typically see, but we didn't have a major 10-car, 15-car pileup. Were you surprised by the moves and blocks made today? And do you think that'll continue at Daytona in August?
Yeah, I think that, I don't know if it was just something to do with Talladega today, like the way the runs were being generated and like how guys would stall when they would get too far out and stuff like that. But I was very surprised that there wasn't more wrecks than there was today. Like, there were a few moments where I'm like, oh, well, I'm about to be on the hook. And somehow they straighten it out. And I'm like, all right, well, we're still going. So, yeah, I don't know if it's going to transition to the next race. I do think that some guys are getting more confident and they're getting more aggressive and eager to lead the race and be in control. So I think that you probably will see more of that. Hopefully it doesn't transition into more wrecks, though, because that's the last thing we need is to be destroying the whole field at these super speedway races, because I feel like we put on a really good show on the super speedways. So, yeah, I mean, I do think that there were some moments that were really close calls, but somehow we got through it.
Any final questions? We'll take one last one from Jacob.
You've had 4 wins each of the last 2 years in the Xfinity Series. You've already got 3 in 11 races this year. Is there anything about this year that feels different? Does it feel like more of a breakout this early in the year, or is it just a case of, maybe the last 2 years could have even been better, but right now things are just breaking your way finally?
Yeah, I mean, I think that last year and the year before could have probably won other races that we didn't win. There were areas where our races, heck, the spring race of here last year, I was leading the race coming to 2 to go and ended up getting in a wreck. So we could have possibly won that race. Like, there's some other races that I can kind of name out, but I will say we've kind of changed our demeanor and how we go about things on the 21 camp. Having a new crew chief on board is always tough just because you don't know if him and I are going to get along. And so far, Chad Haney and I, we've gotten along like this. Like, it's almost like we've been working together for years. Now there's still things that we got to learn and clean up. There's areas that we are still working on to improve on and figure each other out. I mean, there's been some races this year where, like Darlington, we straight up ran 15th. Like, we wasn't going to run no better than that. Bristol, we straight up was running 15th, and at the end, we cut a tire down, finished 20-something, but we were probably going to run about 15th. So there's some races that we definitely have some work to do, but we also have been trying some things because we have the wins. So you're like, all right, well, might as well try some stuff and learn throughout the year. And I feel like we've learned a lot the last 3 or 4 weeks in the races that we've ran on things to do and not to do. So hopefully going into Texas, we can apply the things that we've learned and have a strong showing at Texas. We've been really close to winning there numerous times. So I think it could be one of those years where, I don't want to speak too soon or anything like that, but I just have the confidence in this 21 team this year, even a little more than I've had in years past, just the way that we're working together. So there's no telling, where our limit is on wins that we could get this year.
All right. Thanks for your time and
Yeah,
congrats
thanks,
on
guys.
the win.